there. So let's talk about clean swaps. I realize this is a really big piece of the health journey, is just learning more and doing better. In fact, the other day we were at the grocery store, and I feel like this conversation happens a lot, where one of my kids will say, how come we don't get this anymore? Or remember when we used to buy this? And that's when I get to say, it's true, we did. And then I learned that wasn't as healthy as I want it to be, or I realized it had more sugar than I want it to have. It happens with food very regularly. It happened with skincare products for me years ago. It happens with like smoothie powders, vitamins. I'm always learning more and improving what we're doing. The more we know, the better we do. So I love focusing on clean swaps because I think that's a simple way just to make these one-time decisions that are health improvements for us. So today let's talk about deodorant. This is a hot topic. It's something that comes up a lot in my private Facebook group. If you're not part of it, you're welcome to join it. Because we all would like, well, as we learn about what's in our deodorant, I think we want better deodorants. And from my experience and from a lot of my friends and clients' experiences, there aren't a lot of clean deodorants that work really well. So I found a few that I really like. I have some colleagues rave about some others that I want to share. So first, before we get into it though, let's just talk about why it even matters that what you put on your armpits isn't full of toxic ingredients. You would never knowingly swallow a spoonful of toxic ingredients, right? But in some ways, like smearing them on your armpit may be even more dangerous, because when we eat them, they're metabolized by our liver and our digestive system. It still doesn't make it safe for us, but they go through some process which really taxes the liver and the digestive systems, but it does go through a metabolization process. Whereas when we put them on our skin, they enter into our bloodstream rather quickly and they're not metabolized. So it's like a super strong shot. Of course, not everything gets into our bloodstream, but blood tests have shown that most ingredients in skincare products and deodorants do get into our bloodstream. So we need to pay attention. These are absorbed and they attach to our fat cells. They're often obesogens. Those are hormone disruptors. They mimic the activity of estrogen and cause all sorts of problems. I've talked about it a little bit, and I will be talking about it more because it's really a piece of health that's being researched, and new things are coming to light with it, and it's rather alarming. But we can make safer choices where we can. So the top things to avoid in a deodorant are parabens, aluminum, triclosan. Now you may know triclosan has been banned in hand soap, but it's still allowed in deodorant and toothpaste and things, even though it's dangerous. You also want to avoid formaldehyde, phthalates, and fragrance. And phthalates are always present whenever there's fragrance. So those are some of the main things that you want to avoid in a deodorant. With that, I will say just skip antiperspirants. It's okay to sweat. If your body is sweating, it needs to be sweating. So skip the antiperspirants because they're never safe. But you don't have to stink. So, oh, awesome. Great. I'm seeing a comment by my friend Jamie, who's going to watch this and talk about it with her daughter. Yes. So I have a couple stinky people in my family, and we've had to really play around with different deodorants. So I will show you what I have found that works. A lot of it has to do with body chemistry. So what works for one may not work for another. And also I noticed that the healthier your diet and the more fruits and vegetables you eat, you will stink less. So when you're switching, there is a tip I've seen to detox your armpits first. Some people suggest that it makes the switch over to more natural deodorants more successful. And I highly recommend charcoal products for detoxing your skin. They're the best detoxifiers. So I love a charcoal soap. I love a charcoal mask. And the person I saw writing about detoxing your armpits was talking about putting a mask on your armpits. So that's pretty cool thing to do that I had never heard about. But it's a great way to handle the transition, because oftentimes when you transition to natural products, the body does have a natural detoxifying process. When you switch to natural face care products, you can notice that you'll have a little breakout during that transition, which is totally normal. And then your skin looks better than ever, but the same is true with your armpits. So I'm going to share the two that are used in my family. We have one, my guy who's stinky loves this deodorant. This never comes up in the list of things that people like, but we can get this at the local co-op, and it's called Deo, and it's unscented, and it tackles toxins. So the ingredient list on it is really safe. It has volcanic minerals and Icelandic algae that fights the impurities, and enzymes to neutralize odor. So this is great. There's no baking soda in it, and so it doesn't irritate skin. Baking soda is one of the things that irritates skin in deodorant a lot. So that's one. And then another person in our family loves Schmidt's. I know the lighting is hard. It's probably glaring a little bit. We prefer Schmidt's fragrance-free. This one is lavender and sage, and it's essential oils, so it's not it's not the synthetic fragrance that you really need to stay away from. This is but the fragrance-free has no scent, which is nice for kids, right? A few others that I'll recommend. I have them written down because this is something, like I said, my colleagues and I talk about quite a lot. So there are other brands called Piper Y, it's spelled PIPERWAI, Earth Mama Organics, Primal Pit Paste. There's another brand called I Love It. And I've heard that my favorite cleaning brand, Norwex, also just came out with a deodorant, which I haven't tried, but everything else they have is awesome. So that might be really awesome too. I don't know. So those are the ones that I would recommend. And if anybody else here has tried and fallen in love with a natural deodorant, share it below. Oh, the other one I didn't mention here is Native. Native is another really popular deodorant brand. So I hope that helps. I'd love to hear your questions, and maybe this can be the next clean swap you make.